Anyways, man, first off, Kyle, thank you for making time for me today. Quick interview. For background, for those who, don't know Kyle or myself, I've known Kyle for quite some time. We grew up in the same area, a couple of towns outside of, in Oregon, outside of Portland. And we were both connected through our passion for baseball, and we both ended up playing in college. Since then, Kyle has started a videography company. I don't know if you still do that or not. Gone viral on TikTok and has more than 1 million followers, and is a full-time video game creator and Twitch partner under the name of Mark Clark. So, Kyle, thank you for being here. Appreciate your time. And before we get into your post-baseball life, I want to know about your college baseball experience, but specifically, what skills and lessons do you think playing baseball through college gave you that has helped shape you into the person you are today and the businessman you are today?
Awesome. Yeah. Well, first of all, thanks for having me, man. It's been quite the ride since playing college baseball to being where I'm at now. But it's been a fun one. And you're asking, what I've learned from my baseball experience specifically, and probably the number one thing would be that definitely translates into my life now, my job and everything, is consistency. And more than anyone, with baseball, you have to be consistent with your practice so you can translate into a game. Reps. Everybody knows if you played baseball, you understand that consistency is huge, but that is so big as well in my work experience in content creation. If you're not consistent with a lot of things, with your businesses, with your even your IRL, your real life relationships, like everything, consistency is so key. And that's probably one of the most, like, the best things I learned from baseball for me specifically, that's translated into my business life now.
Yeah, I would have to agree. I think, you have to be okay with failing. I think was a great thing baseball taught me, right? Isn't the saying,
absolutely.
like, you fail 7 out of 10 times, you're a Hall of Famer. And I think life is all about failing and being okay failing.
Yep.
Right? I think there are a lot of people who might not have experienced failure who are scared of it, and it prevents them from taking that next step, building that business, getting to where they need to be. So I would agree. Consistency, doing this, having to stick to it. Like, how many times are we in the cage growing up? Fielding ground balls, doing stuff over and over and over, just for the opportunity to play at the next level. Like, it takes a lot of time, but consistency always pays off. So I think that is a great lesson and takeaway, and obviously has paid off for you. So the last question related to your baseball experience would be, what advice would you give those kids who might be in high school or junior high right now that have the dream to go play college baseball?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, first thing that comes to the top of my mind is, if you don't love it, don't do it. And the reason I say that is because when you're playing a college sport, whether it's baseball or not, it consumes a lot of your life. And I hate to say it, you really kind of just do college work on the side at that point, because that's how consuming and how much time that it takes to be successful at your sport. And especially baseball, where we're talking about reps. You're practicing all the time. You have double days, workouts, everything. It takes a lot of time. So if you don't love it, don't do it. If you don't like practicing, don't do it. And I hate it's like the brutal, honest truth. But as bad as it sounds, it's almost like your college work is secondary. That's how much time you're gonna end up. It's like a full-time job. You have to spend a lot of time, energy. I'm talking about your physical and the mental. It takes up a lot of room, and it definitely wears on you. So if you don't love it, don't do it. And one of my, I genuinely loved baseball. I mean, I played at a Division III school, so you got to love it if you're playing at a D3 school and not even getting paid to do it. But yeah, man, just if you don't love it, don't do it. But if you do love it, it's one of the best, most rewarding things that you can go through is playing a college sport and doing it.
I agree. Some of my best friends for life I made through college, right? And I totally agree. I think it's not worth it if you don't love it. Right. You got to love it. And they call it the grind for a reason, because it is miserable at times. Right. You got to wake up early. You got to do homework on the road. You got to study. You got to sacrifice school, friendships, relationships. You don't get the normal, college experience that your other friends at bigger schools are getting joining a frat. So you really have to be vested in it. And, it's got to be a passion, but it is worth it. Right. Like you just talked about the skills and the lessons you learned. I am a huge proponent of conveying your value as a student athlete. And I think we gain so much in life that's transferable into the real world that we didn't even really realize at the time. Right.
Yeah,
and there were skills that we were working on since we were 12, right? Like leadership, communication, teamwork, all these things you learn at like entry-level jobs. We were building starting at 12 years old, working until we were 21, right? So yeah, but don't do it if you don't love it. It's a big commitment, a lot of travel, especially, you know, high school up, like you got to be dedicated to it. And if not, focus your energy and your love on something else, right? Be a better use of your time. So my next question for you is, so after college, I know you started a videography company with Connor, right? Was he your partner in it?
Connor.
Yep. Good dude. Love that guy. What are some of the lessons learned from that experience? And from those lessons, what would you do different today if you had to build that company over again?
That's a good question. I think some of the lessons that I learned from it is, you know, a lot of, you know, I went to school for business management, and I actually learned so much more creating my own company with Connor. And the most important things I actually learned from it is, you know, the business communication side of it, you know, how to talk with business professionals, how to formulate deals and plans and structure pricing packages for different companies. So a lot of those unique like business skills that were, you know, some of them are definitely transferable to other fields, but like specifically like building up packages and like, you know, and negotiating deals with, you know, with different clients and, you know, how those would change and just the structure of that. I think was really cool. I think I learned a lot from that on the business side of it, just by putting that into action. Is like, I could go to business school, you know, for 4 years and quite honestly learn more when your boots are on the ground and you're actually doing the stuff yourself. So that's something that I'll definitely carry with me for the rest of my life. I mean, I currently right now, I negotiate my own, you know, partnership deals and advertisement deals with my content creation side of it. So a lot of those skills were transferable. So that's definitely something big that I learned there. What would I do differently? From a business standpoint, so with Flightyear Media, that was our media company. From a business standpoint, I would probably say get my systems and processes better in line. And what I mean by that is literally every single thing that you do in a business can be repeated in a sense. It's something that I learned from this book, and basically when we applied it to our company, it made it 100 times easier. And so what I mean by that is like, for us, you know, what it looks like in a production company, you obviously you film, you edit, you produce a video, you send it to your client. All of those different processes can be broken down and actually written out step by step to where I should be able to leave my company, give somebody those systems and processes, and they should be able to take over if they have the skills necessarily to do so. So creating a good like systems and processes for any sort of business. That's why they say McDonald's is like the biggest small business in the world, because it's literally just a franchise. They have the rules of the company set in place, and they can give it to somebody else, and it will be ran exactly the same here as it is in Oregon, as it is in Alabama and across the US. Obviously they have a little bit different variations, you know, overseas and stuff, but it's the biggest small business for a reason. It has success for a reason because it's so consistent, and your business can be consistent if you write out those systems and processes. Anyways, a little bit into the details there, but that's really something I wish I would have done or known a little bit sooner, because it applies to any sort of company that you're doing. I don't care how basic it is. Everything can be written down and made into systems and processes to hand it off to somebody else, and you can work on bigger parts of the business once you're able to handle
other businesses, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I think that's a great point. Is if you're going to start a business with no intentions to sell, if you wanted to build it, the best way to do it is build it where you can go and do your own thing, take on other ventures, and not be kind of like an overbearing CEO, right? Over your baby. You've established a business that's repeatable, and anyone can come in with the right skills to repeat those processes. So you can go on a trip if you want to, you can do other things and not worry that your business is not going to be what it would be like if you were there running it. Yeah. Right. And I feel like, go ahead.
Yeah, that's the difference between being self-employed and actually owning a business too. And that's definitely what I learned through that, is that, you know, when you're self-employed, you are the business. If you leave, the business will not function without you, but a real business can function without you, and it can make you money without you actually being there.
Yeah. And I've been like following Connor closely with his Vertical Video Pro.
Yeah.
And it seems like that's what he's really done, right? Absolutely, is tried to figure out processes to where the business runs without him even needing to be there. Like, yes, he probably gets the new clients, but really he has other people that are doing his edits for him. Yep. He has a process of how edits are supposed to be done. And it seems like it's running seamlessly and he's growing fast. And I love to see that. Yeah. And it's so cool to see him do that, find that niche in vertical video and dominate a space, right? Yeah. Like he's good at what he does. It's super cool to see. And what's really cool is like both you guys worked on that business. And now you guys are both doing different things. He's sort of still in the same industry, but successful, really successful at what he does, what you're doing, very successful. So clearly what you guys did between playing college baseball, building a business together, it's helped set a foundation for your guys' success. And even if that business didn't work out the way you wanted to, maybe it just was too early in your career, maybe you just wanted to go do different things, it gave you a great foundation to build upon.
Yeah, absolutely.
And like I'm working on side businesses too, like working on, a new product with a couple of buddies, and the stuff I'm learning from working with the suppliers, setting up the storefront, setting up the websites, like those are things I don't get to learn working for General Motors every day.
Right.
You know what I mean? Absolutely, so the entrepreneurial side teaches you how to be self-sufficient, how to do things you probably thought you had to rely on others on, right? Yeah. Like how many people out there go to a lawyer to set up an LLC when it takes literally 5 minutes to do online?
Yeah.
Like, but people don't know that, right? Yeah. And like, those are the things you just kind of have to figure out and learn, or how to write an operating agreement. I need to get a lawyer for that. No, you don't. There's so many standard templates online. Yeah. All you got to do is change some things and like do a review. And now you never need a lawyer for that type of stuff. And like, but if you don't try it, you don't do it. It's hard to ever know that it's that easy. It's not easy building the business and growing it and making money. But like getting to a point where like, okay, I have a product, I have a business plan, I have an LLC, I have an operating agreement to protect me and my partners. Like here, let's give it a go. I feel like that's sometimes the hardest part. People don't know how to put the business together. Right. Yeah. But yeah, I think that's a great point with the processes and getting those in place. I think that is critical. And for anyone out there who is a business owner or starting a business, that's great advice. And I highly recommend taking it and learning from it and implementing it, because you don't want to have to be there 24/7, or at the end of the day, you are self-employed and not a small business, right?
Yeah. One quick thing to wrap that segment up too is the book that I read or actually listened to. I like to do audiobooks rather than read, but E-Myth Revisited is the name of the book. So if anybody out there is interested, probably one of the best business books that actually projected our business and moved us forward. So works for any sort of business.
It's great that you say that, because there's so many books out there. There's so many Instagram gurus about small business, like making it seem so easy. And, I really don't think it's that easy how some people make it sound. And there's always, there's books, they make money, and it's like great when you find that one that's really worth your time in reading it. That's really going to provide you good, valuable insight.
If I could give one book to a business owner, it would be that one. Hands down.
Okay. Yeah. All right. That's good. Good to know. People, go buy that book. Go on Amazon.
I'm not sponsored or anything.
No. Yeah. You low-key are sponsored. No.
Yeah.
No, maybe you need to be, though. Maybe if the author watches this, Mark Clark. So now the TikTok. So I remember when you and Connor were doing TikToks, dude, I swear you guys were just like in the house during a snow day or something like that, like hitting golf balls into like tin cans or what was that, like toilet paper rolls.
Yeah.
So I want to know, what was your first viral TikTok, and then what was the secret of growing on that platform?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. So Connor and I, once COVID hit and everybody was inside, that's kind of when the start of TikTok was emerging, and people were starting to pick up a little bit more on TikTok, and they're like, oh, it's okay, it's a little bit more than a dancing app. And then I know Gary Vee got really big on TikTok too. So like some businesses started going over there, and sure enough, dude, TikTok has just gone absolutely crazy since then. But one of our most viral videos was actually faking a trick shot. So we would do like golf trick shots, but because we had the background in editing and video production, I actually edited it to like make some crazy shot. And so people were having the discussion, like they saw like one little frame was off, and they're like, no, look here, look here. This is definitely, made up. And it's like, no, it's not, dude. They did it. They've done trick shots before, because we've done real ones before too. And our plan like wasn't actually for this one to go like bonkers and go crazy, but talking upwards of like 15 million or something crazy on the video. And so that was probably like one of the ones where like, dude, TikTok is going nuts. Like we should invest a little bit more of our time in here, but it still like wasn't necessarily doing anything for our actual business. It was more just fun. And that's when I kind of made the transition to like, once everybody was locked down for COVID, I was already gaming a lot. I've always kind of been a gamer here and there. I kind of dropped it a little bit during college time just because there wasn't as much time with baseball and stuff. But I picked it up after college again, and just really enjoyed gaming and Call of Duty at the time when COVID, was at its peak and everybody was locked inside. So I only saw like one or two gamers on TikTok at the time, but I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. Like I already game a lot. I do editing, so why don't I combine those passions? And that's exactly what I did. I combined those passions. I made some Call of Duty videos, posted them. Sure enough, they did really well. And then before you know it, like Mark Clark was born, and I started streaming and everything after that. But yeah, it was kind of just like really good timing meets just like a good opportunity, and
yeah,
it worked out.
And that's sometimes what it is, right? Like it was good timing with TikTok. It was pandemic. Everyone was inside. You had a couple passions and you combine them into taking advantage of this new platform that's gone crazy. You mentioned that's how Mark Clark was born. Yeah. How was the name born?
Yeah, no, a lot of people ask me that all the time. It was actually like, I mean, you know us baseball guys, like we joke with each other. We give each other hard times like all the time. It was actually like one of my cousins, and every time I would go, it lives in San Diego. Every time we would travel back to San Diego for Christmas, I'd meet up with my cousins and in our family over there. But like every time you would like do something dumb, he would always call you a Mark. Like, oh, what are you doing, Mark? Like you'd stumble over yourself, like, oh, you're such a Mark. And then eventually that developed into Mark Clark, because we'd start calling each other Mark Clarks, just like, say something even dumber, basically. And so I made that my gamer tag one time in middle school. And so I was gaming with Mark Clark like way back in middle school, hadn't used it for like the longest time, brought it back when, like right around the end of college, and just like made a gamer tag, like, oh, Mark Clark, whatever. And then sure enough, when I decided to make TikTok and start posting on TikTok, I was like, I don't know what name to use. I'm just using Mark Clark. I found a basic MC logo online, which I don't know if you can see it full screen in this video, but I don't know if you could probably see it. There's the MC logo back here. And so, yeah, it was kind of out of the blue, but yeah, that's how the name Mark Clark.
Well, that's awesome. Yeah, I would have never have guessed, but that definitely makes sense. I would totally relate. I think we used to call people Daryl's.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like the same thing. It's like the same thing. Back to the social media thing. The last thing I wanted to touch on is, what advice do you have for creators who are looking to grow across social media platforms? And are there, outside of TikTok, what platforms would you focus on if you are starting at zero right now, right? You're like, tomorrow I want to start posting content. I want to start growing as a video game creator. What would be your advice on how to start and get it going?
Yeah, always short form. Always start with short form, because that's kind of like top of the funnel if we're speaking business terms. Like you're gonna get the most eyes from any sort of short form right now. Every platform's pushing it. I'm talking Facebook and Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, obviously TikTok. If you're not on all of them, at least when you're starting out, if you're not on all of them, it's just a big mistake. Like you might as well not even try, because like that's where you're gonna get the most eyes, and then you can slowly funnel them into your stream if that's your passion. But everything during my streaming session, I'll have at least like 2, 3, 4 people come in and just be like, yo, any advice for me? I'm like, I just started my stream. Like, what should I do? And I always tell them the same exact thing. I tell them, stop streaming, create content, and be consistent. Because before I ever, and that goes back to the very first thing we talked about with consistency that I learned from baseball, is like, truly, that is the most important thing with content creation. And there's kind of like 2 pillars of it. There's consistency, and then there's quality of the video. And if you don't have both, you're probably never going to make it. But if you can work at your consistency, eventually your quality will build up. And once you get both of those things flowing, you have quality videos and you're posting consistently. It's a recipe for success. There's literally no way to fail. It's just a matter of, if you make it over that hump and you post long enough, you're willing to just eat dirt for a little bit, and know you're probably not going to get many views at the start for a while. But that would be the biggest thing. Be consistent, try to post quality content, of course, but that's much easier said than done. But be consistent. You have to post for a long time before you're going to see any results. And I actually was on a walk with my wife during COVID, and how Mark Clark started is, I was interested in posting gaming clips, but I wasn't really sold on the fact. And I always wanted to make gaming a passion because, you know, my wife hated me gaming and taking away time from her, of course. So we were on a walk one day and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to post one video a day on TikTok for the start. I'm going to do that for 100 days and just see what happens. 100 days. I posted every single day, at least once every single day. And before I could ever hit 100 days, I was already at like 50,000 followers. And before you know it, I was like, okay, but I better start taking this a little bit more serious. But consistency is always the biggest thing. Getting on every single short form platform is probably the best way to start.
Yeah, I think that's some great advice. I mean, I've just been doing YouTube for about a month and a half now, and I focused on shorts first, you know, because I love to monetize it as like a side thing, right? It's fun to talk about sports, fun to talk with people that have done cool things and whatnot. And I have like 370 subscribers in a little over a month and a half. And all it is like in that time, I've posted 200 videos, right? Like I tried to do like 3 or 4 a day. Sometimes it gets tough because, you know, I don't know what their algorithm is, but like you'll have one that hits like 3,000 views and the next one's 0. Like I don't fully understand the YouTube algorithm. And lately it's even been tougher. Like I've only had one a day that can hit, like no more than that. It's been weird. But it's fun, right? And like, I'm not doing it for a business. Like I'm not trying to do it full time. Like, I think it's a fun challenge. I think it's a fun place to share your thoughts but it's all about consistency, right? You got to do it every single day. You got to have a video. And it, you know, like I think, I don't know how you record, but like, if I'm just talking about sports, it's not that difficult. And so, you know, I think people, and I was super intimidated. Connor's the one that like pushed me into it. He's like, dude, go create videos. Like who cares what it's for? Just go do it. And so it's not as difficult and you get pretty good at it. Right. And there are apps that help you if you want to record and like, you know what I mean? It's there for you. You just got to do it and be consistent. And that's funny how that consistency thing comes full circle, right? That was the first thing you talked about and how it, even today in what you do, it's still the most important thing in your career.
Yeah. So, I think most people will fail because they just refuse to continue to be consistent and have those 0 view days and stuff. But consistency will always be that key. But also what you just said was so key. And I didn't mean to leave it out, but I did, is that you're saying you're just having fun with it, dude. If you try to make this a job, you'll lose your mind because like you said, views in social media and every likes and comments, all those things are so up and down. If you attach yourself to your views and your page, like you're going to lose your mind. And if you have to rely on it for a living to start out with, forget that. Like only very small percentage of people can do it full time. Like I said, I'm very fortunate. I'm very blessed to get out at the right time during COVID and like great opportunity just met and takes a little bit of luck. And I'll be honest. So I think having fun with it is so beyond key. And if you're not having fun with it, you should not be doing it. I would never, ever, ever go into this industry thinking about just making money because you will not. You will not.
Yeah,
you will not make money. You will not have fun with it.
You got to do it for fun. And I think it like even I just do it for fun, but like I kind of get like a dopamine hit when I have a good video and it goes off. Like it's fun. But like if you do it for full time and you're worried about analytics, like you are going to stress yourself out and it's going to kill you. I think I remember Mr. Beast, you know, obviously one of the most successful YouTubers out there, content creators. Like he was like, I just like did it for, I want to say like up for 3 or 4 years of like just at least, grinding out videos. And I was nothing. And here he is now worth a lot of money. Right. And it was just consistency. Just consistency. Like that's the biggest point of this conversation. And I love that because I think it's so important for everything you do. So last question I have for you. And it kind of goes back to like some of what we just talked about, but it really does look like you're living the dream now. And which I'm super happy for you. I think that's awesome. You know, you've a great family. Look at your setup. Like you get to play video games every day. You get to build a community of people that you get to meet and hang out with and talk to. Like it seems awesome. So what I want to know are what are the best parts of being a video game creator? And then what advice would you give others who want to turn their passion into a career? And I'm not just talking about building on social media like we just talked about, but more so of like anyone who wants to be, you know, a Twitch streamer or whatever. Like, and it might have to do with social media, right? That could be a huge component of it. So, but first, what's your favorite part about being a video game content creator and Twitch streamer?
Favorite thing is, like you said, I'm very like humbled by the whole thing. And I know I'm very blessed for it, but getting to play video games all the time, which I already really enjoy doing already, is an absolute blessing. And not only that, but you know, with like being self-employed, creating your own schedule, being able to call your own shots and have, you know, being able to dictate how things move. And like I said, your own schedule and how everything works with your own company is amazing. Like, you know, the freedom that comes with that is great. Now it comes with a lot of, you know, responsibilities as well, of course, and a lot of pressure because of that, especially like in my case, you know, I'm, you know, helping take care of my family. We got 2 kids now. So a lot of my social media and Mark Clark stuff, you know, is predicated how well I'm going to do there is, you know, how well my family is going to survive and thrive. So it does come with a lot of pressures, but I think just being able to have that freedom of schedule and being able to spend time with my family during the days and stuff, it's all just a very big blessing. And then as far as the, what was it? The advice to other people?
Yeah. If you're just trying to start, you want to be a video game content creator, or not even that. If you want to turn it into a full-time job, we'll put it that way. What advice would you give someone? Or like, it goes back to maybe the consistency thing. Like if you want to do it, you got to post on social media. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe it has to do with setup, right? Like look at your setup where you are, right? It's professional.
Yeah,
you know,
I guess I could touch on a couple of things. Like other than the stuff we already talked about, I think that those are going to be always the most important things as far as like the consistency and doing it for the love of it, not to make money to start out with in general. Other than that, as far as like the setup stuff, I would actually mention like, don't worry about your setup. Like you can create videos now, like you said, with apps on your phone. Like you should be posting all the time. Like you should implement those things that we're talking about with consistency because it's easy enough to do so. And it's so accessible nowadays. Like you could literally film a video on your phone, whatever it may be. Like there's no excuse for people not to be posting video content right now. So like I'm sure Connor would tell you as well. But yeah, along with all those things, I mean, yeah, I can't really think of it. I can't really think of anything else off the top of my head, but those would be the keys, man. Like have fun with it, genuinely do it for the love of it, and be consistent with your posting. Like that's pretty much all there is to it.
Yeah. And I think one thing I want to touch on before I end it here is when you were talking about how you like, before you started streaming, right, you were posting content and it was like you were building a community. And this goes back to a company that we both know in Portland, Baseballism, which before they ever sold a product, before they ever had an online store, they were building a community on Facebook by posting content on Facebook. I don't know if you remember back in the day, they had those like little posts with baseball sayings on them or like whatever. They built a massive community on Facebook and then they launched a product, right? Yeah. So it was a lot of time of content creation, not making money. And then they built a community who bought all their products and now they are $20 to $30 million plus business, right? And so I think it goes to show you that it's very important in that type of industry or any industry of like building your community at the right time and then knowing when to launch a product, right? That's it all starts with content creation for you. And there's so many platforms now that allow you to do that.
Yep.
You know, and be your authentic self, right?
Yeah, exactly. And what you just mentioned, those, I mean, the more you talk, the more it's going to bring things to my ideas too. But that's literally so key, especially when we're just talking about like Twitch and like streaming specifically. Like it really is all about your community. So take the time, even if you have like, if you want to get into streaming specifically, now that we're talking that, even if you have like 5 to 10 viewers, doesn't matter. Like that's a good start. Like pour into those viewers, like treat them as if they're real people, even though you can't see their face. Treat them as if they're real people because they are, and they're spending their own time to watch you stream. So that is so important. Like, I don't care. Don't ever let those numbers discourage you. It's still real people. If I put 10 people in the room back here and they were all staring at me, I'd be like, I want to perform, I want to entertain these people. But yeah, pouring into your community is so key. And then I thank you for bringing that up too, because without my community on my Twitch stream, I wouldn't have like half the success. And yes, part of that is me like pouring into them and really taking the time to like appreciate them and, ask them about what's going on in their lives. But also it's just like when you have, those core community of people that create a good environment in your stream, that is so key. Because then when other people will come in, they'll want to be a part of it. They'll feel like a family. Like I have people coming back to my chats every single day that really feel like friends. I've had people even meet in my chat and that they're now roommates. They moved across the country and they're roommates now. So there's a lot of different things like that. But yeah, community is key. Pour into your people that are spending their time on you too.
Yeah, and it compounds, right? You might have 5 people in your chat at once. Well, they might have friends. And if they have a good time and enjoy themselves and feel like you're hearing them, they might bring their friends, and now it's 10, and then those people have friends. And like, I don't think people understand like the value of a community and the value of relationships, and how that can impact growth in anything you do, whether it's video content, whether it's just a product, a tangible product business, whatever type of business it is.
Yeah.
Like, being good to your people pays off. So anyways, man, I really appreciate it. We went a little longer than I wanted to, but nonetheless, dude, this was great conversation, a lot of valuable tidbits. And it was fun to be able to share your story. I think it's super cool to see, you know, how baseball impacted where you are today. And, you know, and now the things you're doing today with, you know, video content streaming and being on Twitch and turning some passions into a full-time job that's, you know, providing you the life you want to live. And I love that for you. I'm super happy for you. As a friend, I'm proud, right? Like, it's super cool. So awesome. It was great catching up, man. And I look forward to getting this out there and sharing it with everyone.
Absolutely, dude. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. Take care, man. We'll talk soon.
Yeah, you too. See you.
All right.